But I want to welcome all of you to our third candidates panel session. The Concerned Citizens Voters Education Committee is proud to present to you an opportunity to engage in a conversation with the candidates for this year's political season, for City Council and Mayor, and also City Attorney. This evening, our guests are, we have Omar Bradley, candidate for Mayor. And one thing I want you to do is to refrain with the applauding until it's over with, because we don't want this to take on a game show atmosphere. Cynthia Green Jeter, 2nd District. First, clarify the Concerned Citizens' position in offering the community and its members an opportunity to engage with this, with the candidates. I'll read you our mission statement. Our mission is to support and maintain a standard of government in the city of Compton, which is dedicated to the best interests of the citizens by following the laws and principles of the Compton City Charter. Local, state, and federal laws are applicable. We encourage and support leadership who will serve the citizens of Compton with unselfishness, honesty, and integrity. That is what the Concerned Citizens is about. And this evening's event is to support that mission. As always, I'm going to explain to you how we're going to go about doing this. Number one, we always afford our guests the utmost respect. There's no reason, there's no cause, and I am here, and also Brother Clay is here to enforce the fact that we're going to conduct ourselves in a civil manner and provide our potential candidates or our candidates with the utmost respect. Also, what we're doing is, this is designed so that you can actually engage with the candidates and ask them questions yourself. So all of you will have an opportunity to ask the candidates a question. You can either direct it to a candidate to answer their question, or you can ask if all candidates will answer that question. Each candidate will get a maximum of a minute to answer that question. Once we go around the room and everyone gets an opportunity to ask a question, then we will do some follow-up questions. And then each candidate will have 2 minutes to make their closing remarks. Now, before we start, as we always do, we start with prayer to support the spirit of this activity. Brother Clay.
Only those that can and will stand, please. Let us pray. Gracious Lord, our Father, we come humbly to recognize who the author and finisher of our faith, who the head of our lives, and who will give recognition, first of all, whatever we do. We ask our tender blessings upon this service, each and every one. In the precious name of none other but Jesus. Amen. Amen.
Okay, we're going to change this for just a little bit. We're going to start at this end. We're going to start with Mr. Blakely. We're going to have him stand up and introduce himself to you. And then we'll go Omar and Cynthia and Craig and that. Just a brief introduction.
Yes, sir. Let's be brief. I've been talking all day, and I'm kind of tired of hearing myself talk. Good evening. My name is Anton Blakely. I'm a candidate for the 2nd District City of Compton City Council seat. I've been in the city for almost 10 years now, in a variety of capacities. Currently, I'm the liaison of 4th District Councilman Dr. Julio Jones. I've been with him since he took office in 2009. I like the vision, the mission statement rather, of the Concerned Citizens of Compton. I think what I bring to the city, what my hope to bring to the city is similar to the vision of the Concerned Citizens, to serve in selfishness, honesty, integrity, respect, passion, compassion, vision, and to again bring a sincere sense of leadership. So thank you for having me.
Mr. Craig.
Thank you. First and foremost, giving honor to God and Christ and the foundation of my life, and to the Concerned Citizens of Compton. I want to say thank you for giving us an opportunity to come and articulate our visions and dreams and ideas for our great city. You know, it's interesting. When Joe and I first met on the political road back when Walter Tucker was running to replace his father, we both had big naturals. We talked a lot louder than we do now. Time has a way, like with wine, of simmering us. It brings about lessons of humility, responsibility, and most important, change. You know, Compton is a great town. In 1888, the founders of this town wrote a document which is a living, breathing document called the Compton City Charter. If I am given the opportunity to become your mayor once again, I intend on following that charter. I intend on doing what my mother told me to do when I asked her for a brand new room. I intend on cleaning up the old one that I already have and making the best of the things that she's provided. We have so much to be thankful for. We have so many things that we can utilize to our best benefit. But we've got to put first things first. And the first thing we've got to remember is that the citizens of Compton are real people. When the water bills go up, we have to make choices between food and utilities. When taxes go up, we have to make choices between rent, house note, taxes. These are things that we should not at this time, given the fact that we are in a mature time, struggle with. So I hope that you support me. I have no promises, but that I will be the best man that I can be. And that if I'm not, I know you will vote me out of office as you have before. Amen.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It's a good afternoon. And I'm like Mr. Blakely, it's been a long day, a very, very full day. My name is Cynthia Green Jeter, and I think that one of the most important things that you need to know about me is that I am a child of God. I don't play with God, and He sure doesn't play with me. Life is very serious. And I'm just really grateful to have been invited here today, and I'm just happy to be able to present myself to you. I'm running for the city council in the 2nd district. I'm not a novice when it comes down to serving in the community. I've served 12 years as an elected official, and I grew up here in Compton. Went to Charles Burke Elementary School, Enterprise Junior High, and graduated from Compton High. Went on from there and went to Cal State University in Long Beach and UC Irvine. So I've had a good basic foundation. And the most important foundation I got was right here in Compton. Because you see, when we got ready to go to high school, we had leadership training. And a lot of you may remember those days when they actually took students and taught them how to be leaders in their community. We were trained to stand up and speak. We were trained to go to different workshops and seminars right there at Compton High. Then they take us off somewhere up in the Angeles Forest for a week or so and train us for a week at a time. So I have been well prepared. And then when I went on and went to college, I was even better prepared. So I want you to know that as a former official, I know how to set policy. I know how to implement policy. And I know how to get the job done whenever it's a job being called for. And I'm a mother. I have a house full of children, to tell you the truth. I tell some people that I'm just like a little old lady that lived in a shoe. Had so many children, she just didn't know what to do. I got 6 children I've raised and 16 grandchildren. So I've got a good family. And God has been good to us. He's been real good. And I want to serve this 2nd district because there's a need. When I drive down the streets in the 2nd district and my car is bumping, boom, 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 as I go down the street, or I'm in a collision course, I have to repair my car, replace my tires, fix the rims on my car over and over again, that's costly. When I get my water bill, And it's getting higher and higher. Because you see, we bought a house over here on the Rosecrans, and I'm like, whoa, the water bill's getting higher and higher. And I heard someone say, when people have to make a choice between paying a water bill and buying groceries, we know a lot of citizens in the city of Compton are living on a fixed income. They're either, I'll be back.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Craig Cornwell, and I'm humbled and honored to be your city attorney. It is by the grace of God that I am finishing up my 5th year as your city attorney. As most of us, I am here because of the hard work of others. My grandfather came in 1944, got a job at the shipyard to help with the World War II efforts, and put my mom, who was then 5, in Lincoln Avenue School. My father started his church on 124th and Wilmington and maintained it till 2006. So here I am. I'm before you. I'm excited for this discourse. I'm looking forward to our conversation. And when I come before the concerned citizens, I usually leave with information and things to help me out as well. So in conclusion, I am here. I strive to provide sound legal advice to the city with unquestioned integrity. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Diana Sanchez, and I'm running for the 3rd District Council seat here in the city of Compton. I am an active member of the Concerned Citizens, so I know many of you already. You know that I participate in a couple of the different committees here in the organization, and I'm very committed to our community. I decided to run for the city council because I know the good things that there are in Compton and the better things that we can do in Compton. We have great resources, great people here, and we are great leaders that will motivate those people to move forward and improve the city. I have the education and the background and the work experience to bring what needs to be done here to the city of Compton. I am a product of Compton. I was born and raised here. I went to school here. I went to Compton College, transferred over to California State University Dominguez Hills, where I received my bachelor's degree and my master's degree in business administration. With that and the work experience that I have over 20 years of business administrative skills here in a company in the city of Compton, I'm able to bring back that experience to bring business to the community that will generate revenue to help stabilize our budget. That is such a critical part of what's going on in our community today. I participate in other organizations here in the city of Compton, including the NAACP, NASIA, the Concerned Citizens of Compton, as I stated before. I was appointed as the director for the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California, specifically representing the city of Compton's particular concerns. I really care about this community. I have chosen to live and raise my children here, and this is the place that I call home. My heart is in Compton, and I'm dedicated to it. I'm dedicated to my community, and I see the things that we can do together. If I had your support, when I had your support in your vote on April 16th, I know that I can do a job that will make you proud, and I'll prove what I can do for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Here we go. We had an opportunity to lead our candidates. Now, once again, I will explain how we'll go about this. I'm going to go through the room and point out whoever it is that have their hand up to ask a question. I'd like to start on this side first and work our way around, and then work our way in the middle, and then work our way to the rear. This is an opportunity to engage in a conversation and get some answers to some questions that you may have concerning the candidate's ability to address the issues that we're faced with here in the city. And once again, I took it for granted. My name is Joseph Lewis. I'm the Vice President of Concerned Citizens Council, and I'm standing in for our President, Mrs. Marie Hollis, who is out of town right now, but she should be back for our next meeting. Okay, so we're going to start over here. And I'm going to start with Lewis. No. Okay. Video
All
bar.
right, my question is for Cynthia Green Jeter. Could you tell me, within the last 5 years, what community activities you have attended or participated in?
Well, actually, more recently, what I have done is work with the Friendship Committee to bring our Latino and our African American community together. I think a lot of you are aware that there has been some discord in the city relative to hate crime, and that is the accusation is hate crime. And what's important is that when people have gone through that kind of trauma, you have people that do a lot of standing and press conferences and all of those things, but there are no solutions. Solutions come when people sit down and have breakfast together and have pancake breakfast.
Excuse me, may I interject here?
Yes.
So that we can move forward, we would like for the candidates to answer the specific question, and then we'll move on. You'll have another opportunity to answer some other questions.
Okay, but that's primarily what I've done. I've worked with Habitat Housing, to build housing, and that's the Habitat for Humanity, and that's what I've done for recently.
Thank you. Okay.
I have no questions.
Okay.
No, not at this time.
Okay. How you doing? Would you like to ask a question? Ms. Kelly?
Thank you. I would like for everyone to tell us, since everyone's so concerned about the high cost of water, what are you going to do, or would you do, if you were elected into your office?
You can start.
Thank you for the question, Ms. Kelly. I represent the city of Compton on the Metropolitan Water District, and I do my research to make sure that I'm aware of how the MWG impacts the Compton water bill. Well, the truth of the matter is that the reason that our water bills are so high don't have much to do with the cost of the actual unit of water that we use. It has to do with the bonds that were floated in order to implement new relining of the water conveyance infrastructure. You said, your question was, what are you going to do about the water bills?
Yes.
Right, and I'm getting it. So what I plan to do is, because we cannot do anything about the bonds themselves, we have to repay that money, is to look for generating revenue that will bring money into the city so that we're able to repay those bonds so that it's not a cost that's brought to the consumer. If we can bottle our own water, because we have aquifers under the city of Compton that has water storage, we're able to pull that water, bottle that water, and sell it, we can pay partially for those bonds, and that money will not come out of the consumer's water bill.
Yes, the cards are. No, we don't have the cards. Larry, your hand on that?
You doing your time?
Your time. Do you have your timer, Rick?
Yes, we both are. What is the length of time you're giving each candidate?
1 minute.
1 minute.
Okay?
Thank
You good over there?
Okay, but do I need to call it out or?
No, just raise your hand. Just raise your hand.
Thank you.
Ms. Kelly, did you get the answer to your question from Diana? She said that it's some water that we have to bottle it and sell it and offset the bond costs and all that. Did you hear it?
Yes.
Now listen, this is not a debate. You just ask a question, and the candidate is going to answer to the best of their ability. If you're not satisfied with it, you can gauge that for your own self, okay? And you will have a chance to come back with a follow-up question. All right? Now, did you ask every candidate that question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so, Mr. Carmel, do you have any input on that?
Thank you, Ms. Kelly, for that question. I will continue to work on providing as many discounts as possible, keeping in mind we have to balance that bond repayment. Once we don't bring in enough revenue to handle that payment, we are in, we can possibly go into default. So it's not a desire, I mean, the desire is there to reduce the payment, but because of our infrastructure needing repair so badly, we have floated these bonds to repair the infrastructure, and we have to repay it. Now, what to keep in mind is the bonds that are in place represent approximately 20% of the infrastructure. So another part of my duty is to try to figure out how to repair the other 80%.
I'm going to give you another little hint. If you can answer the question specifically, please try to do that. What can you do to deal with that issue? If you can't, just say, you know, I haven't thought of it just yet. We'll just move on, and you'll get a little chance. Ms. J.
I just think that what I think needs to happen with the water bill, first off, relative to the bond, there needs to be an assessment of how those bond dollars actually have been spent. Have they been spent on the infrastructure? Secondly, I think that senior citizens that are living on a fixed income, there are no programs in Compton to accommodate the needs of people that are on fixed income to supplement their water bill. And thirdly, I would call for a complete reassessment of the entire system for the billing process, because it is extraordinarily high. And that's the best I can do at the moment. I'm scared.
Scared of me?
Yeah, I'm scared.
As you know, 13 years ago, when I first saw water becoming a problem, I proposed that we lease and not sell the water department to a company that offered us $20 million a year for water. What that would then do, after our employees were absorbed into the new water company, is that would actually reverse the cost of water. Now that's a complex problem. Right now, the first thing we can do is eliminate the 10% utility user tax that you pay on every bill you have. If you have 4 bills and you're paying 10% on all of them, that's 40% of the money that you're paying out. The next thing we must do is we must separate the water bill from the trash bill. Because when you give the trash company a 30% raise, that appears on your water bill. So you don't know whether you're paying for trash or if you're paying for water. But you're certainly not paying for new trucks, and you're not paying for new cans, and when I was there, you were. More importantly, and last but not least, and this is the most important thing.
So Mayor Bradley has some incredible ideas and all of those things are feasible. In addition to that, I'd like to research and find out exactly how feasible it is to create a subsidies program where senior citizens and fixed income residents would have a subsidy for their water bill. The water bill subsidy would be covered through city of Compton through either grants or whenever we fix our budget, create a budget surplus, a percentage of that budget surplus would automatically go towards covering subsidies for, again, fixed income and seniors or disabled individuals with benefits. There are myriad of things we can do. Because we're a charter city, we control a lot of how our government works for all of our government.
Thank you. I'd like to make a recommendation, if you would like. If you are cut short and you're not able to finish your statement, perhaps you can use that for your final statement, so you can make notes which you were unable to express, and then try to help you out in the end. Okay, Mr. Russell.
No comment.
Mr. Davis.
What's it mean?
Mr. Brown, what immediate actions do you intend to take as elected mayor?
Well, the first thing I think we have to do is we need to renegotiate our sheriff's department budget. We saved $7 million annually when we brought them in. But what we did not do is we did not utilize those $7 million to the advent and benefit of the people. I intend, with great council people, to eliminate 10% of the sheriff's budget, and with that money, take 1,000 of our young people and put them to work. Because my theory is young people are working and they're not committing crimes. And so you can have a smaller sheriff's department and a happier community if you put young people to work. Secondly, when we put them to work, and I'll be quick with this, we must teach them how to go to work, how to put your pants up, how to polish your shoes. We've got to teach them how to become productive citizens and encourage them to shop in our community. Because $1 actually stays in Compton 62 hours. That means that the tire shop in Compton, business is going to Lakewood. I'm sorry, I'll wrap it up. So I intend on renegotiating the sheriff's department contract, having less services, more employment, and most importantly, invoke a citizens review board where our citizens can call sheriffs forward who have been doing things that they shouldn't be doing and begin to say, listen, you cannot treat us that way.
All right, thank you, Fred. Okay, next question designated to Betty.
My question is also to Mr. Bradley. First of all, I would love to congratulate you on your recent victory before the Supreme Court, and I wish you well in your upcoming trial. Now, I want to get to, and perhaps you can answer this to me. I'm currently living in a divided household. My husband is a real gung-ho, old-walk rapping person who was very pleased to hear that you were running for re-election. I, however, am not so convinced. I believe with your pending legal issues, if I'm reading them correctly from Ms. Pleasant in the way, causes me great concern. Because if elected, I believe that those problems will come with you and may prove to be a very negative effect on the city of Compton. I believe that I am not alone and that many other persons who, in your day, thought you did great things for Compton that were perhaps they to come to. How would you ensure a voter such as myself who would love to go along with her husband and vote the same way, but she thinks today not so much?
Thank you. You know, that's the 9,000-pound elephant in the room.
Come on, we have
Okay, and you have 1 minute.
I'm sorry, I'll try to be brief. The reality of the situation is that the Supreme Court of the United States of America and the state of California determined that the wrong jury instructions were given during my trial. When my trial was reviewed, given the right jury instructions, I was found to be innocent. Those instructions were simply this: he followed the Compton City Charter. I followed our charter, and in the end, that charter protected me and saved me, which is why I want to re-invoke the old charter. I believe that that charter was placed there to not only protect you, but to protect me from prosecution. And I can tell you that I've been to court 3 times, and 3 times the DA has said, we don't want to charge you. I go again Monday. I anticipate they will say the same thing. But it was important for them to tell you that I couldn't run. It's important for them to tell you that I can't be your mayor, and I'll tell you why. Because Los Angeles and Long Beach is about to do $14 billion in construction, and they want to make sure that they're controlling the guy in town.
Okay.
They won't control me.
Thank you. You know, it may seem brief, and there's a lot of issues, and you might want to hear more, the candidates might want to say more, but we'll get through this evening, and you will be able to readdress it and continue on.
Are you going around the room?
I'm going around the room. I'll be over there. Mildred, you have a question? Okay, sir? Mary?
I'll pass it this time, although I'm happy to see that all the candidates and wish them a lot of good fortune and their bids for their offices. And I will say one thing.
Well, no, let's say you got to ask a
This will be all
question.
four.
You have to ask a question.
It'll be a question.
Okay.
What is your personal vision of all four? What is your personal vision to, as of this day, to make the city of Compton stronger economically with the shortfalls that there are state and federal funds?
Okay, we'll start with Mr. Clinton.
So, like any municipality, we are, our ability to function, to run programs, to employ people, whatnot, is based upon what we do by generating revenue, tax generated revenue. There are a million different things that the city can do particular, what we need to focus on is this new economy, green jobs and global economy. We need to create, invest in research forward science and technology projects. We need to invest in green jobs. AT&T is interested in now in placing new fuel cells in the city of Compton to improve their ability to provide service. So we need to do things that are future generation enabled, if you will, in terms of the economy and driving jobs. The city of Compton used to be a manufacturing hub. Those jobs have now been sent overseas and are probably not ever going to come back. But we still have the ability in Compton to generate our own infrastructure through future technology. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
The immediate condition of Compton is based on this menu. When you have a $40 million expenditure for a senior citizen facility and you try to reinstall a police department, you're going to find that not only are you not going to reinstall the police department, but you're going to have to still pay back that $40 million. The same is true for the water fund. Let's just get facts on the table. Compton is not something that you need to have a PhD for, even though I have one. What you have to have is a heart for the people who live here. I intend on going through the entire budget, creating a line item budget. I intend on allowing the citizens to participate district by district on where we spend those dollars. I think the most important thing in Compton right now is the potholes. I think that most of us, if we had a wheel alignment company in Compton, we'd be rich. In terms of bringing new revenues to Compton, I want you to understand one thing. When I left here, I said that there were two major pieces of property that need to be developed. One is the airport, the other one is the brickyard. We need to bring manufacturing to the airport. We need to be in commercial business to the brickyard. The airport is 88 acres, 6 flights a day. The brickyard, 10 trucks per day.
All right, that's good. I know y'all said, Joseph, why don't you stop us? Give a little time just to close out. Just a little time. Everybody's got that leeway, so let's not be so uptight, okay? Let's loosen up a little bit. I'll have you out of here by 7 o'clock. Okay, Ms. Hughes.
Okay. You know, if I understand your question correctly, you said what are you going to do to increase the...
What is your vision to, if your candidacy is successful and you are elected to the position you're seeking, what is your vision to make the city of Compton stronger, even though there is the barrier of shortfalls, financial shortfalls through state and federal funds? What is your vision?
Well, my vision, first off, would be to clean the city up. The city is dirty. The city is ragged. I'm looking at vacated buildings, burnt down buildings that should have been replaced. And if we're going to bring about economic development, bring businesses into the community, you've got to make the city look like a place that somebody wants to bring a business into. When we talk about expenditures and the current budget, I studied the budget. I'm looking at over $8 million. $8 million that's been going out that should have been coming in. And that's
One of the biggest financial problems facing the city is cash flow. The recent $5 million advance we received from Wells Fargo Bank solved the cash flow for the remainder of this budget. Hopefully, we will continue those types of transactions, which I review going forward. That would solve cash flow problems, that would pay small businesses in a timely manner, and we will have a stronger financial community. Thank you.
I agree. I think that we do need to improve our city services. We need to have our potholes looked and be fixed and the trees trimmed and better lighting and for safety issues. But that's only going to come when we have the money to pay for it. And the way we make money for that is in the city of Compton, the major part of our funding is brought in through sales tax generation revenue or revenue generation. And by collaborating with organizations such as the Compton Chamber of Commerce and other organizations that promote business development, we educate our local businesses so that they flourish, so that they're able to make money so that we have the money back into the city. Also to bring industrial businesses into the Compton area. We have so many resources. We have industrial parks that these businesses can benefit from. The fact that we are in a hub zone and an enterprise zone, this is exactly what manufacturing companies need. We need to market that out in the community, out in the industrial sector. We need to market the city of Compton so that they do come into Compton.
Okay. Ms. Rita, do you have a question? You know, and when I point you out, I want you to introduce yourself so I can get to know you, and so the other audience members can know.
That's my wife, Betty.
And there you go.
Good evening, I'm Betty Elias de los Landeros, and as you know, I'm here to support Diana.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Ms. Landeros.
No
You have a
question.
No question? Ms. Landeros.
Next round, thank you.
All right.
No.
No?
No.
Mr. Desmond?
Okay. Sitting here listening somewhat attentively, this is presented to all of the candidates and all the desks. I just recently, today, had an opportunity to peruse the CEO's report that is going to be presented this coming Tuesday night. And I have to commend him that he gave the best explanation for the $42 million deficit that I have seen, truly. In addition to that, he's given a 5-year projection plan. And to be honest with you, there is no significant projection within the next 5 years. Given that, you have a furlough, which is going to end. You have our repayment that's going to increase by the 5th year by $3 million over what it is presently. That is going to be an increase in the amount of money that we pay out, speaking seriously. So, given that, how do you all propose, now that you've got to get into this hot seat, city elected official, how do you propose to deal with this upcoming shortfall or increase in the city's budget?
Okay, you want to start with that, Mr. Pratt?
Yes, certainly. As I outlined before in my closing arguments, the city is landlocked. So when we talk about industrial development, you have two major pieces of property. You have the airport, you have the brick building. The problem is, with cities like Compton, is that our money does not really come from business. The business tax dollars go to the state, and they apportion them to the county, and then they go to you. Our money comes from the 26,000 domiciles that are here in Compton. And so unless you build more homes to get more tax dollars, you're not going to see a great growth in revenue. But this is what I think I bring to the table differently on that issue. And with no disrespect to our city attorney, whose mother was my vice principal. If you borrow $5 million and you have a $42 million deficit, now you go $47 million plus interest. And that's the kind of thinking that I think has been backwards. I think if you have a city manager in the city of Compton, he should make no more than $100,000. We need to trim salaries. People are making too much money. And we need to take the departments that are not outlined by that charter and get rid of them, specifically MLS, which is $4.6 million a year.
Thank you. Listen, trust me. I want to end the period. Okay?
You know, I'd just like to ask you, you said there was a 5-year plan, and what was the back end on that? At the end of the 5-year plan, did you say?
At the end of that, there is a projected increase in expenditures due to the repayment in the neighborhood of about $3 million.
So, and what percentage would that have on your citizens?
Why don't I relay that to you? Good question.
Well, I'm gonna tell you the truth, this is the first time I heard that. And to be honest with you, from 42 million shortfall in the first place, I think somebody should probably go to jail. Is my time over again?
No, we're just trying to hold down the audience, man.
Oh, well,
Okay, now
I'm
listen,
scared of
ladies
you
and gentlemen,
too.
I'm hearing a lot of chatter going on, and we're not giving those who are trying to listen respect. We're not giving the candidates respect. And quite frankly, you get a little rambunctious. You know, you're not conducting yourself as you did in the other term. So I would appreciate it if you would just focus on the candidates' answers and give some respect and keep it down, okay? Yes. Now, do you remember the question? Ms.
Yes, I do. I have a question written down. I'll be quite honest with you, but $42 million shortfall. I'm wondering who should go to jail, to tell you the truth. And so I hear someone chuckling, but I'm very serious. How the hell they get there? How they get a $42 million shortfall like that? And then in addition to that, you're looking at a 5-year plan that's going to increase the people that are already overburdened. That's a serious problem in my mind. What would I do? I would probably raise a whole bunch of stink, okay? And I would go through that budget line by line. I would look at these positions that are on there. I looked at $8 million in positions on the current budget for positions that don't exist. 8 million. Okay, so if we subtract that down from the 47 million, we're looking at 41 million. So then in addition to that, then let's look at the monies that were spent in order to revive a new Compton Police Department.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yes, Ms. Davis.
Mr. Lewis,
Yes.
I hear and I agree with the comment that whatever time you allotted for the candidates, that time should be given to everybody or no one. And like Ms. Jeter Green, when the bell rang, stop, then have everybody do that, or let everybody.
I understand, but I'm moderating this evening, so what I'm going to do is make sure that people have enough time to at least finish their sentence.
Right.
I understand, but listen to me. The reason for this panel is so that you can see how people respond to rules, regulations, will have some indication of their honesty, their ability to maintain and stick to the rules and the regulations. This all gives you feedback, things for you to consider when it's time to go to the voting poll. If the candidate knows it's a minute and they're talking over a minute, what does that tell you about them when they're in the seat?
Thank you for your response.
Yes, you're welcome. So,
in other words, you're saying it looks bad on the candidate, not to worry about it.
not to worry about it. That's up to you to gauge. I'm just going to give the candidate a chance to at least complete their sentence. All right. So, yes, Ron.
Absolutely. If we're talking about housing, commercial development, industrial development, to me, in my mind, even the education of our children is all tied to public safety in one way or another. When I asked the question, you heard me ask it before, how many of you trust police? It's usually about 10% of the audience. My question to each of you is this: if it's 10%,
They haven't finished answering the last question.
well, he just called on me. If it's 10%, how are you going to increase that to 20%? Trust for police. Talk to me.
20% trust.
How are you going to get, if it's 10%, assume that it's 10% now, how are you going to increase it from 10 to 20%? Trust for the police.
May I just say that I don't think they got a chance to answer the last, and I know, I'm not trying to mock.
I understand.
They didn't get a
Yes,
chance.
good.
I understand.
Now,
Hold on for a second.
all questions must come to a chairperson presiding for the moderation. If you have any, you want to be recognized, raise your hand.
Right. Ron is on our committee, and I thought that he was going to make a statement, but he slipped a question in there.
We come back to it, that's
I
fine.
let him go on that. But hold up. We are going to go back to the original question. But Ron, listen, I thought that you was going to make a statement.
No, we will come back to it,
Come
fine.
back to it. All right. So would you like to answer the question, Mr. Conway?
Repeat the question, please.
The question is, repeat the question.
Mr. Evans.
It was Mr. Edmonds. Mr. Edmonds said about the $42.
To be honest, no, that wasn't the question. The $42 million shortfall was not part of the question, it was part of the statement.
Okay, please
And I
restate.
said that the CEO has presented an explanation for the $42 million. My question was, based upon the 5-year projection, with no significant increase in revenue for the city, there is most likely to be an approximate $3 million increase in budgetary annual payout over what we are now getting in terms of revenue. If that is true, there's going to be another budget shortfall. What do you project to do as a result of that?
Thank you. My office has been concentrating on aggressively recovering dollars when employees are in an accident that's someone else's fault, or there's city property that gets damaged. We've been able to recover almost double what we're paying out in claims. And I would continue doing that over the term of the 5 years, and do my part in my department to help cover that gap.
That 5-year plan projection, I'd like to be able to peruse it so that I can evaluate it. But I do want to say that in order to be able to function as a city, we need to have a stable budget. We will have, and I'm taking at face value, Mr. Edmonds, if we will have a shortfall and we will have an increased payout of $3 million in the next budget, then we need to cut unnecessary costs from the budget itself. We need to be able to go back and look at it, evaluate what our necessary costs are, and cut the unnecessary costs. We need to generate revenue so that we can build up our budget. That's my.
Mr. Blake?
Mayor Bradley touched on a number of things in terms of developing our Compton airport and doing the ground. You also talked about building more homes. One of the things we need to address, one of the other issues we need to address that is pivotal to our city is we make military projections every year off of tax revenue. A lot of that projection is based on what property tax. In the city of Compton, we've got to stop the gouging of our citizens and our residents through foreclosure. If we could stop foreclosure sales and people being illegally forced out of their homes, we would more than double cover in terms of covering that $3 million projection shortfall. I think I looked at a site just yesterday. I think in the next 45 days, there are roughly 245 million homes in the city of Compton, 245 homes, I'm sorry, in the city of Compton that are projected to go to sale. So if we could stop our foreclosure issue in the city of Compton, we'd do great. So I focus on that.
Just like to clarify, because I don't want this to go out and say that this dais or I projected a shortfall. I did not project a shortfall. My statement was there was going to be an increase, a projected increase in payments, and or short in terms of more than the revenue that's coming in presently. So again, I just wanted to make it clear that it was not projecting a shortfall. It was an increase in revenue.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Evans. Mrs. Stokely. Mrs. Stokely.
Yes, I'm not going to stand. I have two questions. Okay.
One question at a time. We'll come back to you.
But they're all kind of combined together. Okay?
All right, go ahead.
They both go together.
Go ahead.
Now, I'm not here as an Omar Bradley friend, but I do have a question for him and Greg.
Now, Ms. Stokely, I did a presentation when we first started how we're going to afford our candidates and everyone up here with respect. And we're not going to allude to any negativism whatsoever.
No, I'm not going to say anything negative to either one of them, okay? I don't do that. Unless I'm at city Mr. Bradley, I'd like to know, when you left, there was $47 million. We were in the black. We had $47 million. Now, I want to know from you, how are you going to get the $47 million? Who are you going to charge with stealing the $47 million? And what can you do if we elect you as mayor to get us back to the $47,000? Okay? And I also want that question asked by Greg. So,
let me just say this. I don't intend on looking back. I don't intend on picking fights. Because I've learned in the 13 years that I've been gone, that it's much easier and cost effective to maintain friends than it is to maintain enemies. So I'm not going to look back, but I'm going to look forward. And I know that the major issue in our town is that we're not working together. We keep our Latino community in the closet. They have the majority of the businesses, yet we never ask them, how should we get into business? What are we doing? And we point fingers at folk who are working hard instead of saying, how can I open up a business like you? Now, once we start working together and put our differences aside, the solutions are going to become apparent. Because what we need is to stop spending so much money on putting our kids in jail and start putting them to work, and this town will turn around.
The $47 million is long-term debt to be repaid over the next 20 years, approved by our annual auditors and our current city council. The $5 million advance is short-term debt that will be repaid by June 30th. I think that is.
How are you to pay back? I'm not, yeah, I asked how, are you guys, I guess,
Yeah, just take that. Okay.
what did you say?
No, I just said that's
You
the
don't
answer.
want to be city council or school board meeting. That don't make me be school board.
There is a repayment plan over the next 20 years to pay back that debt.
Okay. Brother Clay.
No.
Anyone in road sessions?
Okay.
You have a question?
Now, I heard Omar mention about a citizens committee. We're major with the crime committee. We reduced the murder rate from 80 down to 10 to 15. We closed helped close the gun shop. We have a very good rapport with the sheriff, FBI, all these people. We're doing a great job. I'd hate to see that our good people here, Ron, ex-police here, all of our legal people here, know what they're doing. We can quote laws just like the FBI can. You got some good people here, Omar. Let us do our job, and we'll clean some more, we'll reduce that. When you left, remember we had about 80 murders.
Okay, I'm gonna have to put
Now
up
we
a
got
flag.
it down.
A question, please.
So I just want to let him know that don't reinvent the wheel.
Okay. Anyone else? Mike, you have a question?
Yes, sir. Mr. Omar Bradley.
Yes, sir.
When you was in office, you had a program called Operation Redirect that was significantly helping formerly incarcerated. Could you please tell us what you would like to do if elected mayor to reinstate that program, and to all the other applicants or candidates, that do they have a plan such like that?
Thank you, Mike. We were able to receive $6 million with the help of Senator Feinstein to refurbish the homes that are empty in Compton, and believe it or not, with so many foreclosures, as this young man pointed out, we need to train our young people how to do the things that they can do: paint, roof, plumb. These are things that don't take a PhD. And I intend on, as I said, looking at the sheriff's budget, finding cost-effective measures by which we can take our young people and say, look, put this uniform on, don't put on any stripes. Come to work every day. And when you put those homes back on the market, you're going to see revenues go up. But we can't keep putting the revenues on the back of the average homeowner because they're getting older now and they can't pay for it. We also need a truck driving program because, believe it or not, the 710 freeway is going to get expanded, 6 lanes on both sides. The ports of LA and Long Beach are going to expand. And we need to be ready. And we need to tell our young people, we're going to make you ready. Right now.
Mr. Blake, Mr. Blake.
Appreciate the question. I think one of the things that, again, the mayor pointed out to the pivotal is making sure that we get our youth job prepared, job ready. There are a number of public-private partnerships that we can enter into I think right now Clearlink has one going on when they're doing plumbing work. If we can begin to provide our young people with skills, it used to be when you went to high school, you went through cooking class, wood shop, mechanic. And so that way, when you came out of high school, you didn't have to go to college, you could go to work. The problem we have now, even when we're dealing with recidivism, is when they come out of prison, they don't have anything to do. And unfortunately, our schools are failing to educate them and provide them the wherewithal to go to college. And so we've got to sort of serve as a mediator between them and the jailhouse and the city and the streets by being able to provide proactive training through job skills specification.
Thank you for that question. I think that what needs to happen is necessarily has to be a collaboration between the leadership with the school district and with the city in order to prepare people. Now, I don't know how many people are aware, President Obama introduced a program that was initiated last May for technology in order to bring young people from the ages of age 14 to 25 and to prepare them to be technically prepared for this new high-speed industry. We are not ready at all in the inner city communities, although the entire project was written for inner city communities. The cities that are benefiting are cities like in Orange County and Long Beach, but Compton, areas where more people of color are, is not happening. There's a company called SpaceX, who are a privately owned company. Chopstick. I'll be back.
Okay, the situation with the early release ex-cons, just so, I don't know if you're aware, but they will be supervised by a special supervisory program through the probation department. By collaborating with the probation department and the officers that actually supervise these individuals and local businesses, we can get jobs to these individuals. The probation department will have funding available specifically for education, vocational training, as well as medical and mental health services. We can be able to work collaboratively to be able to reintegrate these individuals back into society and make them able to function and not go back into the system.
You already have a question? No? How about you?
My name is Reverend Stanley Prince. I live in Compton for 20 years. And my question is to the whole panel, what do you envision that will help Compton become unified, where you can see the citizens and the ones that are in leadership getting along instead of being broadcast, casting stones at one another?
Okay, that's a fair question. Let's start with Diana on this side.
I think that has been a question that has been on the minds of many for a long time. What I see unifying a community is a love for their community. Many of us have lived here. We care about this community. We share neighborhoods. We share churches. But we don't have that familiarity. We don't have that kinship. And I think that by bringing more community pride into the neighborhoods, by bringing people together at different types of events where we really talk to one another and get to know each other culturally, people will begin to identify with the similarities between people. You know, we all work in Compton, we live in Compton, we worship in Compton. We are living our lives in this city, and we don't know the similarities between us. We all have the same type of concerns and issues. We all worry about the infrastructure. We all worry about city services, but we don't know each other on that level. And I think that would unify the community by getting to know one another on an individual level.
I think the answer is to respect and love each other, and particularly respect the positions and the roles that we have. Everyone in this room plays a role in our community, from citizen to, if you work in Compton, to the elected officials. And if we work harder to respect the position, regardless of personal feelings towards the person, we're going to start communicating on a higher level and a much more business level. Thank you.
With the unification or bringing people together in the city begins with me. It begins with you. It begins with us on an individual basis. Because you see, you have to care about one another. And if you don't care, then you don't know how to work together. And when we're talking about leadership, there's no room for vendettas. You have to leave whatever happened in the past, leave it there. You got to move forward, and if someone is negative, you preacher, let's pray for them. They need a whole bunch of prayer, because you cannot allow them to hold the entire community down. And our young people deserve to see something better. If we who are the leaders in the community and the adults don't know how to work together, what do we expect our children to do and our grandchildren to do? We have a serious problem in that regard. But you cannot afford to be vindictive. You cannot afford to be angry and not be able to resolve.
Primero, es muy importante su alcalde hablar español. Todos juntos aquí. We cannot pretend that 70% of this community is not Latino.
That's right.
We cannot pretend that they have needs that are just as important as ours. We cannot look at their holidays as something that just happened. We have to bring them out, we have to embrace their culture, and we have to benefit from it. I like burritos and tacos just like the next man. And I think what we have not done for the businesses on Rosecrans is a shame. I propose that September 1st of every year is Afro-Latino Unity Day in Compton. I think that they eat our collard greens and we eat their tacos. And you know what? When we get behind closed doors, we don't see the color of our skins. So we need to bring everyone together, and that is going to decrease crime. We shouldn't spend $10 million a year on the sheriffs. We should be spending $10 million a year on hiring our young people. Why are they killing each other? This morning we had 120 folks eating pancakes, and I didn't hear anybody arguing over bacon.
I think one of the things that we need to focus on is the fact that we're really not that different at all. All of us desire the same basic things in life. We want our kids to grow up in places that they can have a good time, to receive a quality education. I want to know that if I leave my front door open and I go down the street, it's still going to be open, and the stuff that was in my house when I left will be there when I get back. That's universal. That's not cultural. That's not this or that. That's for everybody. I think what we need to do is focus on what divides us, which is simple if you're talking about in terms of leadership to the community. What people want is results, not rhetoric. They want prosperity and progress, not empty promises.
Right.
They don't want fancy slogans. They want to feel and live in a community that is successful and thriving. And if we focus as leadership, in leadership position, you can't ask to sit at the head of the table and then complain when people pick at you, because you're at the head of the table. That's what happens when you ask for that. You got to be willing to accept the good with the bad. That's what leadership is about.
Okay, I'm going to leave this up, but I'm going to ask this young lady right here. Do you have a question before we leave this side of the room? No? Okay, we're going to go to the middle now, ladies and gentlemen. So,
What about my question?
I'm going to get you to you. Take some time. I'm not going to pass you up. Do you pass or do you?
No, I have a question, but you said the middle.
No. Introduce yourself.
Tomas Carlos, I've been a resident of Compton for over 32 years. I'm a product of Compton. I support Diana Sanchez. And, for the last few days or the last weeks, we've been hearing forums, and everyone has the same concerns and everyone has the same ideas. And it's like the questions you get asked, the answer is somewhat the same, but just packaged in a different flavor.
So the question
is now, you have the forums, what sets you apart from your contender or your challenger? What sets you apart from them? You guys have been to the forum this morning and last week, so what makes you different than everyone else?
And I would recommend that you answer that question without using names if you can. And we'll start with you, Mr. Blakely.
Very good question. So there's a saying that goes, there are two types of elected officials. There are diplomats and there are politicians. Diplomats are kind-hearted, warm, caring, loving, generous people. They ask a lot of questions. They look for a lot of studies, but they don't get very much done. Politicians are people who walk into situations, assess what is from what is not, make hard-line decisions, and are willing to be held accountable for those decisions, and make sincere, significant progress. What separates me from the candidates is they are diplomats, and they're proving themselves to be very diplomatic. I am not. I'm a politician. I will get in, get what needs to be done in a timely, efficient manner, and I am willing, and I will be willing to be held accountable for all the decisions that I make.
I'm so happy that he went first. He sounds like the young Omar. There's only one problem. The best thing that happened to me was that God put me on my knees and made me struggle for 13 years. And he taught me that I was not the end all, the be all. That people that I serve are more important than me. And that if you want to be the greatest, as Jesus said, you must seek to serve. Yes. I don't want anything for me that I don't want you to have. I want my street just as flat as yours. I want my water bill low too. And I'm willing now to listen, to hear. It's okay, I know how to fix it. No, that's nothing. If I don't have love and patience, and I'm not willing to listen to the most meek and minor individual, because guess what? When I was in state prison, that's who saved me. The meekest and the most least of all.
They said so much. Let me get this question straight. To ask what sets you aside, what makes you different. Well, what makes me different is that I'm Cynthia Green G. And I'm not a novice when it comes to serving my community. I know how to set policy. I know how to implement the policy, and I know how to get the job done. Now, someone talked about the difference between politicians and diplomats. The bottom line is, if you've been elected to the position, you need to get the job done or take a seat. You don't need to be there if you're not going to get the job done. So what makes me different? I know how to get the job done. I've raised over $50 million to build a high school when everyone said it couldn't be done. I've taken cops and went all the way to New York and had them refinance, pulled the interest rate down and built another school. I'll be back.
What separates me is being unopposed. That being said, I am specifically trained for this position. I managed my first law firm in 1996, and I have been working and studying in municipal issues since 1996.
Well, I am running unopposed. No, I am involved in my community. I get down to work. I get into the community and I do the things that I see need to be done. Many of you know me from the different organizations that I work for. Oh, you can't hear me? Louder? Many of you know me from the work that I do in this community. What sets me aside from other candidates is that I am working out here. I'm not just running to get famous or to be important. I became important the day my first child was born, because that's what makes me important. My family makes me important. Not sitting up in a chair. What that makes me is a servant to this community. And it's sincere and it's from my heart. I love the city of Compton. I was born and raised here. I've seen the changes. I see what we can be. And that's why I work so hard. Not because I'm looking for a job. I have a full-time job. Thank God, my God is very good to me. I do very well in my job. I don't need the money. What I need is to use my gifts to help others.
That's my wife, by the way.
Well, introduce her.
This is my wife, Nancy.
Nancy has no
question?
You want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Adrian Cleveland, and I live in the unincorporated area of Los Angeles, so I apologize for not being able to vote for Compton or LA. We nominate a county supervisor. However, I'm a product of Compton Unified. I come to Compton every day to work. So what goes on in Compton not only affects me, but it also affects the union members that I represent with NCIU Local 99. So my question is for Mr. Bradley. Let me also say that I have a house in Compton that I pay taxes on, and I own other properties also. But what's really disturbing to me is the house in Compton, the taxes are higher than those that I have not only in LA County, but in LA City. And because I pay more taxes in the city of Compton, I do expect for the roads to be better.
Right.
I expect for the water bills not to be so expensive. I have family here, and again, I represent people here. So it's disturbing when I get calls of, people saying, what's going on? I can barely afford to eat because I'm paying this water bill.
So your question is?
Oh, okay. So my question is, Mr. Bradley, what was the financial state of Compton when you left, and what was the deficit, or was there a deficit?
I hate to correct Mrs. Stokes. We did not have a $46 million surplus, and I'm not going to lie. We have a $22 million surplus. The problem is that when you've got $7 million that you're saving from the sheriffs, you spent it, you didn't save it. The city's budget does not speak to an overall vision of the town. You must know what it costs to fix every street, not what it costs to fix one pothole. You must know what it costs to trim every tree, not what it costs to do your best friend's or your mother's street. And when you create a budget that deals with the needs of the community, then you begin to analyze what's coming in versus what's going out, and you serve the needs of the people first. I believe that all of these potholes and all of these trees are just jobs for our young people waiting to happen. That charter says that the city manager is supposed to live here. It says that the majority of the employees should live here. And when you live here, then you shop here, and then we get more money in tax dollars.
And that question was just for Mr. Bradley?
Yes.
Yes, I have a question. I have a question on medicine. Yeah. Okay, my name is Dr. Scott, and most of you know me, and I didn't want to make a living. I lived in Compton for 60 years. I was here probably a long time. And I live in District 1. And I got a lot of people in District 1 know me. And I'm speaking for 2/3 of them right now. Now, what I want to ask, and I want you to listen to me, and I want a correct answer from you.
Wait a minute.
Have you been in? Okay, I'm getting right now. Most of you live in Compton. And I want to ask you, what are the 3 priorities or your main focus for this community and the city? 3. If you're elected, and I want to hear that. And I'm listening.
Thank you, Dr. Scott. 3 priorities for the city
And the community.
and the community. Please elect with,
Top priority.
let's start with you, Mr.
This
Davis.
city.
I just want to get the answer right.
3 priorities.
The way you asked. First priority is clean the community up. That's the first priority. Clean it up. Make it livable so that our young people can have a sense of pride in where they live. The second priority would be to bring about economic development that would also make an investment in our community to create businesses and create jobs in the community. Third priority will be to deal with some of this prostitution that's walking up and down the street. That's a real problem that we have in our city. And so that's 3 off the top of my head. I've got a lot in my mind, but that's the start out point. There's a lot.
Thank you. I agree. Mr. Cornwell, as a city attorney, what's your 3 priorities?
Thank you. First is to continue continue our sound legal defense in litigation matters. We have been very fortunate that legal issues have not been a significant storyline to our financial trouble. And I'm looking forward to continuing our work in defending the city and making as much money available for the other services. Second thing is our abatement program. I created an abatement team and created resources to fix where the trees are overgrown, the grasses are too high. But now we need to shorten the time frame to get properties cleaned up. And also to, and finally to support city council and management on financial issues.
Okay, the three main priorities for the city and for any of the residents, I am a resident of the city of Compton, is to fix our budget. By fixing and stabilizing our budget, we'll have the money to be able to provide the city services for the aesthetics, the things that we see out there, the potholes, the tree trimming, all the things that we need to have as a community. I also believe in definitely working on business development to bring in generating funds for the city so that we can continue to build a stronger council, to grow the city of Compton. And public safety. I'm a member of NASA, and I strongly believe in what Mr. Roy Sesters and the rest of the group are doing, and to be able to bring awareness to the community of our public safety issues, and to be able to actually do something about it is exactly what we need to do all around the city. To take action on things that we can change. We can do so much, let's take action, and public safety is a major priority.
Mr. Blakely.
Three priorities. First would be city services. I think that we need to make these things a budget priority. We need to increase or implement a capital improvement plan that'll deal with not only how we trim our trees and when we trim our trees, but put them on a consistent schedule. It'll also stop us from just pay or refilling potholes, actually repairing and maintaining our streets. I think when you look better, you feel better, you do that. There are certain things you won't do in a suit that you'll do in shorts, and I think that we need to sort of take that sort of simple approach to how we maintain the beautification of our city. When people feel like the government cares and the people care about the way the city looks, people will change the way they react to the city. The other thing is to drive economic development. Lastly, I would make sure that we finish our senior center on time and on budget. In the city, we have a notorious past for starting projects and either not finishing them ever, or finishing them notoriously late and over budget, and that puts a huge burden on our general fund, our general capital.
First of all, with all due respect, I went to kindergarten with his son, so agent. Number one, employ 1,000 copper knights, so they can have an opportunity not to break into our homes, but to break into a job. And to recycle those dollars in our community so our businesses will thrive. Downtown Compton must thrive. Empower and harness the Latino business community and let them make as much money and create as many jobs as they can. We have held them back. We have not helped them in ways that we should. And the mere fact that we are not trying to speak in Spanish at this very moment is one of the reasons why they feel that they're disenfranchised. We need to bring them to the fore. Reduce our utility users tax and reduce our taxes by looking thoroughly at the monies that we spend on law enforcement that is not needed. Thank you.
Thank you. Good question, Dr. Scott. Whatever, do you have a question? How about you, sir?
I have a question.
Yes, Elizabeth?
Hi, yes. Very simple question, this is more fishing for answers.
And who is this question directed?
To everyone, maybe everybody will have an answer. Now, I know that we have pothole problems in the city of Compton, but the residents and business owners are not the only ones that drive on the city of Compton, on the street of Compton. We have those 50, 60, 80,000 pound trucks that have to go to the industrial side through our streets. Can they also be held accountable to paying and helping us if there are no problems?
Okay, Diana, you want to start
Trucks are only allowed to drive on truck route designated streets, so they don't go to the community streets. There are significant potholes in the big streets which need to be repaid. Now, I believe, and I say this through the work that I do in the company that I work for, we pay a special tax to the state of California so that those transportation rehabilitation costs are incorporated and they are sent to the state. They're distributed down to the city level. So the city does not charge a company a surcharge for driving down the street. And if I'm mistaken, please correct me, anybody, but that's the tax that we pay through our company. So the city already receives funding from the state for rehabilitating the streets that are truck route designated. So those are the ones.
With certain businesses, as they're constructed and initiated, you can get developmental impact fees for their impact on our community. And we are conscious of that. And one example comes to mind is a recycling facility that's being proposed to the city. We will be requiring them to pay impact fees for their impact. So more examples like that would get their contribution to the eroding of the streets reimbursed to the city.
I think that's a real good question, because there are trucks that come from Port of Long Beach and go all the way through down to Los Angeles. I believe that there should be a tax on those companies, just like you have the fast track on the freeway and go from the 91 up to Riverside. Let them pay a fee. Pay a fee coming, pay a fee going, and that would be a way to generate revenue that would deal with the potholes and the decay of our streets. And I think it's doable, and it's just a matter of making sure that our city attorney makes it legal and go ahead and do what we need to do, because I think it can happen. In addition to that, when you have these potholes that are on the streets that are not supposed to be truck routes, because I don't know about you, Ms. Sanchez, but I've been seeing them that are not on the truck routes. So we need to make sure that this enforced, the law is enforced.
The question is, good seeing you again today. Let me be the bearer of bad news. You cannot impose tariffs on trucks from the local level. That's the job of the state, because most of your streets belong to them, especially the ones that trucks are going to travel down. But Ms. Green is correct. You can impose a tax on businesses where they venture. But what I would like to do is I would like to encourage more businesses to come here, not discourage them, and put them on the proper places like Alameda. We have the largest federal construction development in the nation. It's called the Alameda Corridor. But we haven't built one business next to it, so that we don't need trucks, right? Because we just build the businesses on Alameda. They put them on the freight that's right there, and we shipped it across the country. The answer to our problem is jobs, jobs, jobs. That will create revenue, 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 to which we can employ more folks to get rid of those potholes. Now we gotta follow those.
Not much to say other than, in addition to what's already been said, it's a matter of enforcement. There are certain roads that are designated for larger vehicles, heavy vehicles, and we just need to make sure that the sheriff's department goes about enforcing the laws that are on the books in terms of what types of vehicles can travel, what they're okay.
Thank you.
I do have a question.
Introduce yourself.
My name is David Hall. Family lived in Compton since 1960, and I still live in Compton. I work for the city of Glendale. If you are elected, is there a plan set in place, or will you have a plan set in place to erase the stigma that Compton has at this present time?
I'm going to call on Mr. Bradley first for that question.
That's a good question. You know, our stigma wasn't just something that was earned in the media. For a very long time, many of the crack houses, much of the crime that proliferated in our streets was in fact justified. In 1993, we're the murder capital of America. Since the sheriffs, and I know it wasn't popular, but it's better. Since the sheriff's murders down to about 24 to 25, in fact, we had a 40-year low, Mr. Kent, correct me if I'm wrong, last year. But what we need to do is not look at our problems from the standpoint of putting more people in jail or increasing our laws, but rather putting people to work and letting them live meaningful lives. When you feel good about yourself, and when you're proud of your community, and when you love your neighbors, you don't break into their house. In fact, I'm always reminded of when I got caught stealing peaches on 133rd Street. I got a whooping not because I stole the peaches, because I didn't ask the senators if I could have them. We should have more peaches. We don't need to steal.
We remember.
Your question is to change the stigma.
Yes.
And you're making reference to how other people look at our community on the whole. You know, I spoke to that earlier today at the chamber. I was in the city of Madrid, in Spain, and I had someone approach me and ask me, what country are you from? And I told him Compton. And we know Compton is a good country. But the point is that they knew in Spain about Compton. That stigma can be changed by the way we treat our community. I think we need to market our city. We need to change the image from within to the out. We need to have a concern, like a campaign. You campaign and you sell the city. Campaign on behalf of the city of Compton. And put it on the front page of the papers, put it in the media, put it out there where we have, I mentioned SpaceX earlier. That's a great program where some of our kids can become astronauts and scientists.
Thank you. Mr. Blakely.
Thank you. I think a lot of what's said is true. It starts at home. We've got to, no one tells our story better than we. No one will ever love us more than we love ourselves. And for us, that's what we've got to really get back to and dig our heels in. It's got to be about making sure that we take care of home first. So, like the mayor said, it's some of this stuff, a lot of this stuff isn't fictionalized. It's stuff that's actually taking place. But what has to happen is from the top down. It's got to be a change in mindset, a change in leadership, a change in attitude from the top down. We've got to begin to take care of ourselves and our city as though it is actually a place we care about. It's not okay for there to be so many potholes, so many vacant homes, for businesses to be closing and stuff like that. It's not okay. And we have to begin to actually sincerely care about what goes on in our city. And everybody else will hear about it as we do better.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. Mr. Farmer.
I would just like to say every day where I get up and I'm able to go to work, I make a commitment not to do anything that can bring the city down. And I think, or embarrass the city. And I think if we all take up that responsibility, because the stigma that you're referring to is not represented in this room.
Right.
It is not represented by most of the people I come in contact with. And our story can be told. And we just have to take up that responsibility daily. And I try to do my best to do it.
The marketing industry is a multi-billion-dollar business. Why? Because it helps people see the reality or the perceived reality of what you want them to see. We need to market the city of Compton. We have the technology already in our system that we can use that technology to market the goings on here in the city of Compton. We have a lot of good stuff happening here. Nobody knows about it because it isn't marketed. We need to put it out there, word of mouth. People that have pride in their community, that have community pride in their neighborhoods and where they live, they're going to spread that news. Putting it on the web, putting it on the website, putting it out there in the general population so that they can spread the news. That's what we need. We need a marketing strategy and a marketing plan to get the word out. Because there is good stuff happening here. We just got to communicate it to others.
Thank you. Any questions? Sir, you have a question? How much?
I have a question for Mrs. Sanchez.
Raise voice.
Anybody else? Yes, my name is Sanchez.
No, just raise voice.
Oh, wait, my voice.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. You was talking about bringing in revenue. You mentioned that twice. So that's why I'm gonna ask you a question. But first of all, I was at the Home Depot today. The place was very busy. People left. I heard this gentleman, because they were wanting service. I was trying to get service. The girl from the register had to come and put the stuff on my cart because I wanted, salt, and it was heavy. So when I was leaving, they were asking for a plant. 2 guys asked them. They didn't have anybody in that department, in the garden department. This man and his son left, and I heard him say, "You want to go to Carson?" I got so upset. I said, "That's our tax dollars leaving."
So the question is,
What can they do about the businesses in our city that's not doing business, that's causing business to leave our city? That's my question.
is that for everybody or just for?
If she wants to, and anybody else want to answer, fine.
And we are listening.
Thank you for that question. I really appreciate it because it is very important to, like I said, generating revenue in this community will build up our community. When you have a good working relationship.
Anybody else on the panel like to answer that?
Just like that question, because I think that's an excellent question. You see, the businesses like a Home Depot, which is a huge company, the service they provide is a reflection of their attitude for the community that they're in. So now, the way the community deals with businesses like that, we want to make sure it stays. But in addition to that, we have a Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber of Commerce is the means by which you have a good working relationship with businesses like a Home Depot. And Home Depot should be sitting at the table when the Chamber of Commerce has a chamber meeting. And I'm not talking about a board meeting. The chamber should be having monthly meetings where all the members come together once a month and share what's happening, and they should hear what the community's needs are. So that's like the liaisons between the community and the businesses through the Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you.
And I agree, and we are.
Thank you. Would you like to address that?
Yeah, I know each of you who live in Compton have had the experience of shopping at Food for More, and you've gotten in line, and the young people who are serving you are not serving you as they should. Some of them use profanity, many of them have tattoos on their necks. It's very frustrating. Sometimes you want to say something about it, but I want you to know it's our fault.
Right.
Because we don't have job training programs, and we're not working on our young people so that they can learn how to live a meaningful life. And these are the quality of life issues that we have to pay attention to, me especially because I'm 55, not 40. And I'm beginning to understand is that whatever I put into that bucket, that's what I'm going to pull out. And so if I don't take time in my budget to do something with young people, I should not expect anything out of it.
Is anybody else on this panel who want to address this? Okay, real quick. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I'm going to ask if there's one person that have a burning question, because we're going to conclude now with a 2-minute statement from the candidates so that I can have you out of here in 19 minutes. So,
I have a burning question.
you had your question already, right? Okay, let's see, someone who did not ask a question yet. I have an obligation to a committee member. Mrs. Stovall.
This is for the city attorney. I understand there are businesses along the 91 freeway that have 99-year leases and they don't pay taxes. Is that something that can be, is it true, and can that be rectified through?
I don't believe that's true, but I will look into that.
I've heard that from the city mayor and other people.
I will look into it and get back to the body.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. No more questions. I'm going to go into the 2-minute.
I have one more.
I know we all have questions. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We will be here past 7 o'clock.
I promise mine is short.
Forgive me for being firm at this moment, but I need to do that in order for us to stay in line with the time of the meeting. So, at this point in time, each candidate gets 2 minutes for their final, to share their final platform. You start with you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the time. Earlier tonight, I was compared to a young Omar Brett. And I'll take that. I'll take that as a compliment. Because what I know about the young Omar Brett is that he cared about the community that he lived in, he cared about the community that he served in, and he was sincere and dedicated to improving the quality of life for the citizens of Compton, California. I am passionate when I speak. I am focused when I'm around. I'm attentive and concerned. I'm running for the 2nd District City Council seat because I care about this community, I care about the residents, and I believe that is an opportunity that I have to be able to have a grand impact on the citizens of the city of Compton for now and for the future. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Blake. I'm just excited. Now I'll tell you why. I remember when Walter and I first started doing this, these rooms would be all black, and they would be all seniors, and they would be all men sometimes. But I'm starting to see a change in our community. And I'm seeing people who are becoming interested in the future of Compton. I know I don't have all the answers. I've learned this. And I learned hard. But I know this, that if we start working together, if we stop attacking each other, and start looking at the collective benefit of this time, what's good for the generations that are coming behind us and the generations behind them, we're going to one day look up and we're going to see people fighting trying to move to Compton. Because we got 4 freeways, we're 7 minutes from that beach, we're 5 minutes from that beach, we're 6 minutes from the airport. Why shouldn't we have the best of everything? The only thing I can tell you is that if you elect me, I'm going to try to give it to you. Now, you know I'm not scared. But I'm convinced that I was born and raised among good people. That the people who have come here to live with us are good people. And when you've got good people working together for one aim, then we can't fail. And I don't care if I'm the mayor or not. I know this, that if you stick together and you be who you are and work together for that one aim, we're going to see it happen, and we're going to have to see it happen soon. I love you. God bless you. Thank you for letting me come back and speak to you. Thank you.
Mrs. G.
I just like to thank you, Mr. Lewis, for everything. This has been just a pleasure to be here. And I'd just like to say, when we talk about unity and bringing our community together with the demographics, I made it my business to learn how to be bilingual. It's really important to aprender a hablar en español en la comunidad. Muchas personas hablan en español solamente. Many people just speak in Spanish only. It's important that if we're going to live together, I cannot raise my family in my household and they don't understand me and I don't understand them. We have to bridge those gaps. But in addition to that, when I'm elected to the 2nd District, and I will be elected, I want you to know, I want you to know that I'm going to clean up the streets in this 2nd District. I'm embarrassed to have company come to my house because they have to come through such a horrific condition to get there. I am going to make a difference as far as bringing and opening doors to bridge these young people into educational programs that the city needs to be in collaboration with. when I spoke about SpaceX. There are opportunities that our young people need to be able to take advantage of. I have a grandson who is 16 years old who wants to be an astronaut. He flies airplanes right over here at Compton Airport. He is a good academic student. He's an ROTC. Why can't he not be able to benefit right here in our community with SpaceX right here in Hawthorne? We need to have them put an office right here in Compton. Not only that, we need to make certain that our young people are technically astute. And then we look at our senior citizens. You got to live, we got to live. Oh, the budget's just been terrible tonight. I love you, I thank God for you, and when I'm elected, hold me accountable.
Thank you.
And we are listening.
Thank you.
We're gonna believe it.
Thank you once again, concerned citizens. Mr. Lewis, you had a tough job. Thank you for moderating. When I started with the city in 2000, multiple people came up to me and said, don't stay. Get a couple of trials under your belt and move on. And have your career soar outside of Compton. Well, I stayed. And not only did I stay, but I went and I got a wife, and I got a 5-year-old, and this is our home. Let's continue this communication. I am here for you. I'm giving you my best, and I can get better. Thank you very much.
I am Diana Sanchez, and I'm running for the 5th district here in the city of Compton. I am Compton. I was born and raised here. I care about this community. I cared about it when I was a kid. I cared about it as I was growing up, and I care about it now. I choose to live here. Many people ask me, well, you know, why don't you move somewhere? You guys can make good money. You make good money. Why don't you move somewhere else? Because this is home. Anywhere else that I go will never be home to me. This is home. This is where my heart is. This is where I want to raise my kids. This is where my family is. These are where my friends are. My friends on different organizations that I serve. I have the education. I have a master's degree. I have the experience. I have the work experience. But most importantly, I have the heart. And I have the care, and I have the strength, and I have the will, and I have the fight in me to do what needs to be done. There's going to be a lot of challenges here in the city of Compton. It's not going to be easy, and it takes people who are willing to take the risk of doing what's right and the chance to make things happen. That's what needs to happen here, and that's me. When you vote for me, you're voting for a better Compton. You're voting to show that you care about this community. When you vote for me, I will prove to you that I will do the things that you need done here in the community. I love Compton, I am Compton, and I ask for your support on April 16th. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to take this moment to say I apologize if I was not able to let everyone ask a question. I apologize. I feel as though you didn't get a chance to get everything out that you want to say. However, I do have a committee member of the Voters Education Committee who asked to ask a question, and now the candidates get their last platform speech. I'm going to give Ron an opportunity to ask the burning question that he was so graciously waiting to ask.
I appreciate that, because it is a burning question. I'm gonna change it, because I'm gonna save the one that I asked you before to the next one. But this, I'm gonna follow on what Jesus said there earlier about prostitution. It's a big problem. If you go to Marcel and Long Beach Boulevard, you'll see that it's a big problem that affects businesses there. If you go to the businesses there and talk to them, they'll tell you that that prostitution problem has an impact. I don't see how we're going to provide jobs or anything else to build commerce with that problem. Resident prostitutes have not worked. What do you propose to do differently?
Okay, you want to start, Mr. Blake?
Is this a planning?
And be brief, please.
Yes. In Los Angeles on Crenshaw Boulevard, they used to have an issue with Sunday night loitering, cruising up and down the Shaw. So the city of Los Angeles passed an ordinance where you could not pass certain points. They were basically sort of like chapters. You couldn't pass certain points more than a certain number of times in an hour, in a 4-hour span. What we need to do is Right. What we need to do is look into something like that and make that applicable for the city of Compton in terms of how we deal with those who solicit prostitutes. We need to impose a fine on them and deal with that same issue the same. We need to also impose a greater fine on those who are actually prostituting themselves. We can't, arresting them isn't the answer because what they're doing is looking for work. So until we figure out a way to provide jobs and job training for them, we need to sort of make them feel it a bit more in their pocketbook.
Mr. Redmond.
Crack down on the bars, you won't have any subject. Prostitution is the worst crime on this planet. To take the natural use of a woman and to change it for a man's own desire is the foulest thing that a community can allow. If you want to stop prostitution, arrest everybody who's buying a prostitute. Amen. And I can guarantee you, when nobody's shopping, nobody's selling, nobody will be buying.
Well, I just have to say amen. Because I look at some of these young women that are out there, they're like 15, 16 years old. They're just children. And so they're coming from very difficult situations that have put them out there. And so these men, you know, they're the criminals. They shouldn't be buying. And the little girls need to have an alternative. We need to be able to create the vehicle by which to create retention of young people. These young girls need something to do, and they need jobs, they need training, they need housing. A lot of them just need a place to lay their head where they know they'll be safe. We have a homeless program. They need to be involved in those programs. We need to reach out and make a difference in the lives of these young people. My son is a criminal justice major, and he told me, he said, Mom, a lot of these people, the customers are the police officers themselves. They need to go to jail too.
In 2004, I wrote the penal code ordinance and put it in the municipal code so that my office could be in charge of the prosecution. And I fully agree, prosecution alone is not the answer because we've had high sentences, but the activity continues. At this point, I'm an advocate of increasing the technology and having cameras on Long Beach Boulevard and being able to monitor the camera system and having that be a deterrent of the activity.
Thank you,
I believe in imposing stricter regulations and imposing fines, as others have stated. I think we need to hold the sheriff accountable for results about prostitution. But I also believe that we, as a community, need to collaborate with different organizations and the sheriff himself. We, as a community, need to get together and work on the problem. We can't expect others to fix our problems. We need to get out there and fix our problems. You know, it's called, I believe it's called a victimless crime. Well, it's not a victimless crime. The victims are the prostitutes themselves. We need to reach out, have churches and community-based organizations and subsidized funding so that we can help these women or young men, whoever's out there, so that they don't have to look to that alternative. There are other things that they can do, that we can help them do, so that they don't go there.
In the spirit of Mrs. Hollis, where else can you go and engage with your candidates as much as you have engaged with these candidates this evening?
Nowhere.
Nowhere.
Let's give them a hand for their great citizens. We want to thank you very much for
I just want to make one announcement. You all talk about prostitution, but the sheriff's department has a public relations department, and Rayford Owen has every third Saturday in every month. On the third or fourth Saturday, him and all of his church members go right there on Long Beach Boulevard and pick them up, every prostitute, and he either try to get them somewhere to come into the church, or they will pay for him to. He does it. They do it everybody. They've been doing it. They were first marching. Now they just pick them up. And last night I was to something that I had no problem with. The sheriffs are now blocking Long Beach Boulevard off and taking your driver's license and making sure you got insurance. And I ran into that last night. And so they are racial. I commend my hat to him because he does everything he can. His favorite city is taking Compton back and being the city that we were a long time ago.
Thank you.
So it is available. You can get in touch with him. I'll give you his number.
Okay, thank you
All
very
right,
much.
thank you.
Okay, now, hold on for 1 second. Now, see what's going on here. We have a time frame that everybody's got the last thing to say, and I'd like for everybody to go home safely. So I'm going to ask if Larry Edmonds could send us home with a prayer safely this evening. And if anybody else have a question they want to ask the candidates will be here, and you can fellowship with them if they want to stay for a few minutes to talk.
We actually just wanted to thank you. We wanted the persons here in attendance to thank you.
Larry, yes.
Let's bow our heads. Our Father and our God, our Creator, He who has made us, He who knows us. We want to say thank you, Father. We ask you to bless every home that is represented here. Bless us individually and then bless us corporately. And Father, we realize that each citizen that is here, they are here because of their concern for this city. And we pray for unity. We pray that there are no color lies. We pray, oh Heavenly Father, that we as citizens, that we are able to be better citizens by being the example for everyone that we know, everyone that we come in contact with. And now, Father, we just ask you to allow us to go in peace, go in harmony, go in unity. We ask your blessings and your protection upon each and every one that is here present. These blessings we ask you tonight, at this moment. In the name of your Son, Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. 7 o'clock.